Thank you all for coming today to the Spark training for reports. This will be for the reports module you'll see in the upgrade that is taking place on the evening of Wednesday, November 6th. So on that day, we ask that you log out at your end of your shift, and then this way all of the upgrades and any changes that are taking place will be new and fresh in your browser. Let me just share my screen. So I just wanted to point out that we do have all of our documentation for the reports module and other upgrade features on our support page. You can access them via support.sparkpa.org, the website. As always, you can email us at support@sparkpa.org as well if you have a question you'd like to email us about. But when you're on the support page, you'll see there's a whole tag just for upgrade features. It's going to have the highlight video that Katie recorded, some steps on how to prepare, like I suggested, making sure you log out at the end of the day on November 6th. We have some additional training schedules sessions coming up. So next week is cataloging, and then the week after is public catalog and the staff catalog changes. We had some testing days, but anyone is welcome to test, especially this feature that we're going to be talking about today. And then we have our notes and documentation. So we have a whole slew just specifically set for reports. Since this is a full redesign of the report screen, a lot of the documentation pages had to be rewritten. I do want to note that any templates, you can see here, any templates that were created in the desktop client. So if you have a template that was created prior to, say, 2018, this will be required to be upgraded. The template will not work or may work kind of, but not fully. So we do want to make sure everyone is updating their templates so that in this UI column you see and not XUL. So just so you're aware. This doesn't mean that you can't make changes later after the upgrade, but they will be anything lower than version 5. So version 5 is the newest version when we migrate over. So if anyone has questions or concerns about their templates that they're running, please don't hesitate to reach out and we can work through any changes that need to be made. So without further ado, we'll do the live demo. I did want to include that all of the notes and step-by-step instructions for like report folders and searching and cloning will be right here. All right. Any questions about older templates before we move on? Okay, there will be questions and time at the end if you'd rather talk about it off camera or off recording. Okay. So on the test server, which is accessible to all staff, so you are just going to use the login that's in the chat. It's test.sparkpa.org/eg/staff. You'll log in with your regular username and password. And I do want to make sure that folks do remember that if you recently got reports permissions, you may not have them on the test server, so just let us know and we can sync up your accounts. Or if your password changed, that will also need to be adjusted. You'll see that the data on the test server was updated on August 28th. So anything after, if you added new titles or you need when you're testing out the reporter, if you're looking for circulations and things, you're going to want to make sure you look for circulations and items prior to that 8/28 date. All right, so again, the reporter is, still accessible via this button and from the administration screen. Now, first off, we are getting this bug fixed. There are a few minor cosmetic bugs that are getting fixed actually tonight. Hopefully, tonight is our maintenance window. So when you load, all these folders should load more like this. So don't panic if you see it all expanded if you're testing later today. So again, you still have your folders and then you still have your navigation for shared folders. Again, just like in the reporter, for templates, reports, and outputs still have their own elements as well as the shared folders. The search is now a lot more robust. You can search in specific folders or you can search in all folders. And the nice thing about this feature for the search that they added is when you do a search, it's going to tell you the folder that it lives in, which is really exciting, at least to me. So like if I'm looking for this template and I wanted to see if there were others similar to it in that with it, I can look for the owner. And so this is more J and the folder is named more. So then when I'm browsing, I can go over to the templates folder and find more J and the more folder and then see all of the ones that he has. So that's really cool. You can search your own folders. You can search names or descriptions or all fields. So for instance, if you yourself are looking for a template that you know you have, you can search for your own stuff too. So that's really helpful. And then if you need any additional fields to display, like the version or the template ID, those are still under the little grid options or the little gear options to add those. All right. So as you can see, the templates, you can, just like you in the current reports module, you can add your top level template folders just by clicking on the top level folder. You can see down at the bottom here, it's going to list. Now you'll have the same options are still available, they're just displayed slightly different. So now we have all of your folder options. So you have the ability to create a new template. You can rename the folder, delete the folder, add a subfolder, or share the folder. If you're familiar with the full reporter as it currently appears, that was like an option over here and it was like a drop down menu and things. So now they're all fully displayed here. If you're in a folder that has contents and you need to act on any of the contents, so say you needed to change or run a report off this template, this first one, you'll still check your box for the template, and under the actions menu, you'll have a few options then. So you can clone the template, you can delete it, you can move it to another folder, you can create a new report on it, or you can run a report list. And what it'll do is it'll look and see who else has run a report on that template. This is helpful for those instances where someone else is running a report on your template and you're trying to delete it. You can either reach out to that person and say, hey, the template is updating, and show them how to get a new copy of it, and then cancel any currently running reports on it. So that's a nice new feature. I'm particularly fond of it because I have, as you can see, a whole folder of things I can't delete because someone didn't clone it and they ran the report on it. Let's go back to our tour of the folder. Okay, so again, you have your options to do your specific functions off that specific template. So say I wanted to clone it, it's very easy. This will be the new clone screen, and what you'll be able to do is pick your folder. And I don't know if it'll be in this fix, but there is a bug for this to collapse once you've made your selection. So if not, you have these these arrows here to expand or collapse them. So you have some control over how things are laid out in that fashion. Your template name is still there. You still have the option to include a documentation URL to something like a Google Doc if you want to provide additional instructions to those who are running it. And then you also have your template description. Then here on the left, you have your sources. So this is the items source. And then you have your display fields, your filter fields, and your report layout. The report layout is relatively new. This came when they did the design for the Simple Reporter. So if you've used the Simple Reporter, this is probably going to look very familiar. So this will allow you to change the order of the fields. If you wanted to have showing location as the first, you can just use the up arrow. Or, you want the owning first, you can change those directions using the arrows. And then having it sort the data, by owning library and then showing location, and then if you wanted it ascending or descending. So that's nice for those who want to use the sorts within the reporter itself. So going back to the display fields, you have your top level table, and then the fields that are in that top level table will display over here. As you move down to joined tables, which are what these are, the list will change as you select things, just like you saw in the way it's currently displaying. Some things that are helpful with this rewrite is it's going to give you that path on how you got to a specific field, but allow you to change the name. Owning library still makes sense to me, but you can make changes to that however you wish. Your transforms are still here as well, but you can also supply hints as to what those displays are for folks. These will be helpful when if you're cloning templates and things. And then also in your individual fields, there aren't those icons anymore. Now it's just straight text telling you what it is. So active date is a timestamp. The age hold protection is a link so that you have to go over to the join table and find it here and select from the joined table and so forth. Money, just raw text, IDs, booleans, everything like that. So once you have made your adjustments to the displays in your clone, if you're editing it, you can also do so with the fields, the filters, excuse me. This is where you can also include that value. You can still do that. You have your operators. You can also supply hints. This will be helpful for folks who are running the template. And you can remove things by just hitting the little minus sign. And then, if you have any report layouts that you want to change. So, and then you would just hit save. So any questions on the cloning process and this cloning or editing a template? Oh, sorry.
Out from Brant.
Sorry, Brant. Well, they already scheduled a monthly. Yes, all reports that are currently scheduled will continue to run as they are now. Everything is the same. I do want to say the caveat of if it is a XUL template, we may want to reevaluate that, but we can check prior to your to the upgrade if you'd like, or if you want to wait and see, we can do that too. But we can't guarantee that the XULs will run at all. So it might behoove you to take a few minutes to double check. Any other questions? Okay. So let's just go back to our template folders. If you wanted to create a new template, the Yeah, it's fairly the same. You can pick your folder, put your name in, any documentation or description that you'd like, and then you'll select your source. Sources are the same. I think there are 3 new ones for acquisitions, but everything else will be the same. So picking whatever ones you want and then going from there, picking your displays, your filters, and your report layout. Those are all the same as if you were editing. So if you needed like a list of items, say for like a weeding report, you can select the barcode. Maybe you want to know when it's active, the date is. Maybe you want to know what the circ modifier name is, so forth and so on. And then you would select your fields. And if you want to provide the value, so we don't want anything deleted, so we'll pick false on that one. And maybe we want to go by circulating library. We can do enlist. So if you've edited or built templates, the background info is still all the same. Okay. I'm going to close that. Your reports folders themselves, the info where you've answered all of the questions from the templates, they will still be here. You will have the option, to review anything, sharing a folder, adding a subfolder within this one if you would like. And then, those same options on individual reports. You can edit reports. I do want to stress that there's the ability to save the report and then save and schedule. But if you need to, like, you can make changes to it. But if you're making a ton of changes, it's probably best just to clone it and then rerun it. Let me close this. There's no button to run new. If you've ever edited a report in the current reporter, there's the option to save it and then it'll continue to run if it's like a reoccurring report. And then there's the option to save as new. The save as new is no longer available. You would have to find your reoccurring report that you have. I don't think I have any. Oh, I'm in the wrong folder, that's why. Oh, they're not in here. So I can't even show you. Let me quickly show you what I mean. Actually, I could be explaining this while I'm doing this. So if you're running a report, you have your columns. These are fixed. These are things that you set when you set up the template and you can't adjust them, but they do show you what you should be expecting to see. You'll load on the filters screen where you'll start answering your questions. So like this one is a monthly circulation by shelving location. So the checkout renewal library is obviously something that you have to set. So you will pick that. You can collapse it. So I'm going to run it on while missing, and I've checked that box. I have a checkout date and I want to do it monthly. So I'm going to do a relative value of 1 month ago. And I'm going to do book and DVD. The option for the in list is kind of a little, you have to select each one at a time. So that's a little annoying rather than being able to select one and then highlight a bunch with like the whole holding down the shift key. I know there is a bug on that one ticket, so hopefully that is resolved quickly. But adding them is really easy. Select it and hit add, and then if you need to remove any, you just hit the little red X. So once you've filled out all your values, you hit the next button and it'll take you to the layout and selecting. You have your pivot table options up here if you choose to use them. They are optional. I really encourage people to use the pivot options in Excel, but that's just a matter of personal preference. You have your options for your outputs. The calculating the subgroup subtotals is now also available. You can do Excel, CSV, HTML, and then the bar chart and the line chart. The report folders are now here. You kind of have to, it's like pretty obvious that it's making you pick one. And it'll, once you've selected your folders, those red boxes will disappear. You can have your reoccurring report. I think we're setting this up for months, so let's do 1 month. So every month you can put in your email address, or you can schedule it for the future. So if you want this to run like every month, at the beginning of the month, you can pick column, the date picker, put in the date that you want it to run, and then the time that you want it to run. Select your email address. If you want multiple people to receive it, you put the address and then a comma, separating the next one. So you'll save and schedule your report. My report has saved successfully. And it should be in my testing folder. I can see now that it's in the pending section. It's going to run again on November 1st. And then once it's done, it'll move down to the completed section. And it will display again here, but it'll say December 1st, 2024. If I need to edit this pending one, like say I need to change the email recipients on it, you can select it. Excuse me. Nope, sorry, this is the one that changes. So you find it in your report, you'll see that it's reoccurring. The interval is 1 month. And this is where you edit it. So you can either right click on the line or select it from the drop down menu up here. Make your edits to the things that you've filled out, and then you save it. And it will replace whatever is running. So that's like one of the big changes. Like to edit a current recurring report, you have to go to the reports folder now that it lives in, rather than editing it in the output. Does that make sense? Are there any questions on that? I can also wait till the end. Okay. I'm not seeing any in the chat, so I'll continue. Okay, so we created a template, we've edited a template, we've set one up to run, we've edited one that's a recurring one. Just trying to remember all of my, yeah. If you need to see anything that has previously run, again, all of the outputs will list here. The data behind them will live there for roughly 60 days. So if this is a report that you need to save, we really highly encourage everyone to download the output and save it somewhere else, you know, in a file somewhere or in your computer, because otherwise you'll have to run the report again if you need that data. The error reporting is going to be a little bit different. It used to have like this weird like string of text, and now it just says error running report. So if you try and look at the output, it just says it's not found. So that's one thing that's not as helpful, error running report. I just don't know. Like sometimes it used to say like line whatever, and you could kind of figure out what part of the template is not working. So I'll check and see if there's a bug for that. But once it runs successfully, you can do, you'll see your output options of HTML or CSV in that op. I guess that's what I picked when I ran it. So that is still the same. It will still display. You can still share a link to it if you want. If you want to share this report with a staff member, you can just copy this link and send it to them, and then they would log in with their username to view it. Either they can view it via the tabular output or the CSV. Okay. So that's kind of like a high view of what the reports module rewrite looks like. Again, you have your folder options are going to be at the top, and then your individual line actions are going to be under this little icon. I don't want to say hamburger, but that's what it kind of reminds me of, is those hamburger options. So those will be there. You have refresh buttons here now, which is nice. You don't have to refresh the whole screen. You can refresh part of it. And I think they have fixed these arrows. The buttons shouldn't be this big. They should be roughly this size. So they are fixing those as well. So for those who want to test it out, again, you'll go to the test server. I would wait until tomorrow because a few of the bugs will be fixed, and like the collapsing of the folders, it won't be as overwhelming to look at. I highly encourage you all to test it out, see how it's working for you, see if you can edit templates, try and run reports. The reporter is running, so you can run them, but you probably won't get emails on them. So you'll have to come in to your outputs folder and retrieve the completed report. We try not to run the email component on the test server so that it doesn't accidentally email someone wrong notification. Are there any questions that you have at this time? Let me see if we can stop recording.